if you say, as has been mistakenly said to many evangelicals, that Jesus had to keep the law of Moses perfectly to qualify, you're actually getting a lot of stuff wrong. You're painting Jesus over with Moses. That's not a good idea. If Jesus was only just doing the law of Moses in the letter, guess what? You're not following Jesus unless you're going to keep the Sabbath and do all the things that Moses instructed, and you're probably not doing that. So try this model better. Jesus is said to be the mediator of the new covenant. That's said twice in Hebrews. In Malachi 3, it is said very beautifully that we're going to wait for, and that's now in the past, we were waiting for the mediator of the covenant. That's Jesus. That means the new covenant. So to say that Jesus simply copied Moses in the letter is fundamentally false. The devil only has one trick. He wants you to believe in Jesus without defining what that means. You must believe in the words of Jesus. There are master warning texts. I'll just mention two of them. One is in 2 John 7-9. If anybody comes to you, 2 John 7-9, and doesn't bring the sound, health-giving words, that's actually 1 Timothy 6:3. I'm giving you two verses here. 1 Timothy 6:3, let's start with Paul. If somebody comes to you and doesn't bring the sound, health-giving teachings of Jesus, watch out, you're being scammed. Don't go there. And in 2 John 7-9, we have something like this. How does that go? 2 John 7-9 says, if anybody doesn't have the teachings of Jesus, he's a false prophet. Stay away. Don't go there because you're going to endanger your salvation if you do. It's very tough. So it all has to do with the sayings of Jesus. I spent the early part of this morning looking at these extraordinary verses. 2 John 1, look to yourselves that you lose not the things which we have wrought, but that you receive a full reward. With my machine now, with my Bible works, I can trot these things out, in a second. It's simply amazing. I put them together in about 9 pages. Jesus cried out in John. He yelled on certain occasions. He yelled. He raised his voice and he said, I am speaking the words of God. If you don't listen to me, you're not listening to God. You better listen to me or you're going to be lost. The things that I'm saying, Jesus said, are the things of God. So listen to my son, the voice said from heaven. It doesn't get any more dramatic than that, does it? Oh no, they say, that would be salvation by works. False. You ought to obey Jesus and listen to him carefully. Jesus kept saying that. All right. Not everyone says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom, but only those who do the will of my Father. Multitudes of people will say, Lord, look at the stuff we did for you. Get out of here, I never knew you. What? So I'm meditating all the time on how does this happen? Well, it happens when you don't pay attention to the sayings of Jesus and, of course, the sayings of Paul, through whom Jesus also spoke. Why do you call me Lord, Lord? He said in Luke 6. There's that Lord, Lord thing. Many will say, Lord, Lord. Okay, let's look at the Lord, Lord thing. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and you do not do the things that I say? I get the point. He didn't say, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and you refuse to believe I died for your sins? That also is true, but it's not the point here. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, but refuse to do the things I say? I get it. That's the point. Jesus therefore cried out in the temple, teaching and saying, you both know me, he said to the Jews, and you know where I came from. I didn't come of myself, but he who sent me is true, and you don't know him, he said to the Pharisees. That's in John 7:28. Jesus shouted very rarely. He shouted when he called Lazarus out of the tomb. That's one of us. Raised his voice. But he raised his voice particularly in John. And he raised his voice also at the parable of the sower. In Luke 8:12, you have this amazing thing. He says the parable is this. The seed is the gospel of the kingdom. The seed is the gospel of the kingdom. If you haven't got the seed, you haven't got started. The seed is the gospel of the kingdom. And then in Luke 8:12, listen to this one. Those by the wayside are they who have heard. Then the devil comes and takes away the word of the kingdom from their heart, so they may not believe it and be saved. Excuse me? You've got to believe in the message of the kingdom. The devil is keen to keep that kingdom message away from you. In Matthew, then, the 4th blocks of the 5 blocks of teaching. Why? Because Moses gave 5 blocks of teaching, we know that. He's the first great speaker for God. Well, Abraham was very important too, of course, but the Mosaic thing is monumentally clear. Moses died at a cool, 120 years old. didn't get to go into the land, so God was very tough on him because of the mistake he made and let him actually go into the land. God is a God of justice, I get it. Then along comes the second Moses, that's Jesus, the greater Moses. He has 5 blocks of teaching. And that same Jesus went up on a mountain to get the Sermon on the Mount. Who else went up on a mountain? Moses did. You see the parallels? God is working in patterns all the time.